It's been reported that eBay's founder created the site so that his wife, who was an avid collector of Pez dispensers, could trade them with other people. Whilst that's a heartwarming story, it's a total lie from eBay's old marketing team. Let's look at the real story of eBay. Pierre Amidja loved computer programming from an early age. At school, he would sneak out of his classes to go use one of the school's computers, where he'd teach himself how to code. And in 1991, he co-founded an e-commerce site called Ink Development. However, he soon came up with an idea where instead of the normal business-to-consumer model that everyone else was using, why not let consumers sell to each other? Unfortunately, none of the partners at his company thought this idea was worth pursuing. So in 1995, Pierre decided to just go it alone and designed a site called Auction Web. It had an extremely basic design and was really just a side project for Pierre, but it was the first place online where anyone could list their items for sale for the rest of the world and have people bid on them. The first item Pierre put up for sale was a broken laser pointer. Yet, amazingly, there was a bidding war on the item, and it eventually sold for $14.83. Pierre messaged the winner of the auction to check he understood the item was broken, but the buyer said it was cheaper for him to repair a broken laser pointer than buy a new one. Pierre was surprised by the sale, but it made him realize just how huge the potential was for an online marketplace like this. Now, initially this auction site was totally free to use, but then Pierre's internet service provider contacted him to say that they were going to increase his bill because of the high amount of traffic his website was getting. So in order to fund the extra money he was going to have to pay to keep the site running, Pierre decided to start charging users a percentage of the final item sale price. It would be 5% for any items under $25 and 2.5% if an item sold for more. Then in 1997, Auction Web changed their name to eBay. That's not actually the name Pierre wanted. He wanted to call it EchoBay, but that domain was already taken by a mining company, so he shortened it to ebay.com instead. In the first month, it's reported eBay only made around $1,000 in revenue, but by the end of the second year, it made around $400,000 in revenue. And the year after that, they did over $5 million. And the money just kept rolling in, with more and more people buying and selling items. The main reason for this rapid growth is that eBay is very much a site that benefits from network effects, meaning the more people who use the platform, the more valuable it becomes, because there's more buyers and sellers, and there's more items and sales, which brings in yet more buyers and sellers. Before long, people were buying and selling pretty much everything on eBay. Some particularly bizarre examples include a grilled cheese sandwich with the face of the Virgin Mary, a literal town in California, and Britney Spears' hair, allegedly. There's also the most expensive item ever sold on eBay, a 405-foot mega yacht, which the Russian billionaire oligarch Roman Abramovich bought for $186 million. However, a huge part of eBay's initial rise was collectible items, and at one point, Beanie Babies accounted for around 10% of sales on the site. eBay leveraged the fact that the internet is global, meaning people with a niche interest in any sort of collectibles could for the first time simply type an item into the search box and get it shipped to their door. With things going so well, in 1998, eBay had its IPO and began selling its shares to the public on the stock markets. On the first day of trading, the share price increased 163%. As a result, Pierre became a billionaire overnight, just 3 years after starting the website from home as a side hobby. But before we get to the next part of the video, I want to tell you about our video sponsor, Morning Brew, a free daily newsletter running Monday to Sunday that gets you up to speed on business, finance, and tech news in just 5 minutes. Before subscribing to Morning Brew, I'd start my morning aimlessly scrolling through social media. But now with Morning Brew, I get a summary of relevant stories that are genuinely really interesting. Like, I learned why Norway is so good at the Winter Olympics because of the way they get kids so interested in different sports at such a young age. There's no reason not to subscribe to Morning Brew if you're interested in business, finance, or tech. It's completely free and takes less than 15 seconds. So just click the link in the description below to subscribe to Morning Brew now. After you've done that, let's get back to the video. For a little while, it seemed eBay could do no wrong. Fortune listed them as one of the 8 fastest growing companies on the planet. And because eBay was such a simple, universal concept, it was fairly easy to introduce eBay in countries all over the world, and so its popularity just grew and grew. eBay then went on to acquire PayPal in 2002, so that eBay users could easily make payments. This was a double win for eBay, because then they not only got paid per transaction on eBay, but PayPal also took a percentage of the sales price too, so eBay was getting paid twice. In fact, at this point, with all that money rolling in, eBay began acting more like a giant conglomeration, because they went on to acquire over 50 other companies, including Skype in 2005 and StubHub in 2007. So, bearing all of this in mind, surely eBay should have gone on to win the online shopping war and be the #1 site for buying and selling things online. And yet, in 2020, eBay had a revenue of a little over $10 billion, whereas Amazon had a revenue of over $386 billion. Amazon has been growing much faster and making much more money. And there's 3 interesting reasons for this. The first is that Amazon originally had their own auction platform called Z-Shops that was basically a copy of eBay and a totally separate part of the Amazon site. But it wasn't really that popular. So Amazon made what seemed like a very controversial decision. They started letting independent sellers list their products on Amazon's main product pages. Many thought that Amazon would cannibalize their own sales by doing this, because it meant that if a third-party seller undercut Amazon's own price, Amazon would show the listing of the third-party seller instead. But in the long run, this was a brilliant move, as it meant sellers would compete with each other to drive down the price, helping Amazon become known for low prices, whilst also expanding the amount of items Amazon offered. Interestingly, a lot of people who buy from Amazon still don't even realize that over 60% of sales on Amazon are from third-party sellers, not Amazon themselves. Secondly, Amazon turned what should have been eBay's biggest strength into a weakness, which is that because eBay is a platform that doesn't own any inventory itself, it should save a huge amount of money on storage costs. But Amazon changed the dynamic when they introduced Prime membership and started offering next day delivery, or even same day delivery. eBay obviously couldn't compete with these fast shipping times since they had no control over how fast sellers shipped their items. But then the final key factor in Amazon's dominance over eBay is the focus on customer support. Jeff Bezos has always insisted that customer satisfaction is their #1 priority. Whereas eBay in the early days was notorious for having very limited support, no phone number to contact, and you basically took on a lot of the risk yourself, which led to plenty of eBay horror stories, like people being sent empty boxes or outright scammed when sending a payment. To be fair to eBay, it's very difficult to tell who is telling the truth in many of those fraud incidents. But Amazon gained huge customer loyalty by essentially always siding with buyers. Quite often this was unfair on Amazon sellers, but Jeff Bezos' insistence on putting the customer first made economic sense, because ultimately, the sellers will tend to go where the customers are. And if customers become loyal to Amazon, sellers often feel they have to go there too. So, with Amazon gaining such fast momentum, the eBay CEO at the time, John Donahoe, wanted to make sure eBay was fully focused on their core business, and decided to sell off some of the various companies eBay had acquired. In 2009, eBay sold a majority stake in Skype to an investor group for $2.75 billion. However, this probably wasn't the best move, as just 2 years later, Microsoft bought Skype for $8.5 billion. Likewise, in 2015, eBay spun off PayPal into its own separate business. But again, this may not have been so wise, considering PayPal have gone on to perform much better than eBay in recent years. And as for eBay's actual core business, competition seems stronger than ever. It's no longer just Amazon to worry about. There's new Chinese apps that offer cheaper prices. There's new consumer-to-consumer marketplaces with lower fees, or in some cases, apps with no fees at all. And look, of course, eBay is still a business success story. It's a huge online marketplace with millions of buyers and sellers. But as eBay slips down the popularity rankings, there is perhaps a sense it could have been so much more. Now, if you enjoy business stories like this, please make sure you turn on notifications for Magnates Media so you can get more free business mini-movies, such as how Coca-Cola make billions of dollars from selling sugar water. Just click here to watch now, and I'll see you there. Cheers.